Japan's colonization of Hokkaido relied on substantial American advice and replaced Ainu land use and culture with Yamato Japanese settlement. Just after the Meiji-era began, the government created a development commission in 1869. Earlier Japanese control had already expanded across southern Hokkaido. It was designed to encourage Yamato Japanese settlement. The commission tied settlement to four pressures: unemployed former samurai, industrial resources, defense against Russia, and Japan's prestige abroad. These aims made Hokkaido a settlement project, not simply an agricultural experiment for the new state. Japan lacked modern agricultural and mining expertise, so American advisors helped organize large-scale farming and coal mining across the island. They introduced American methods and tools, imported Western crops and livestock, and surveyed mineral deposits. That transformation dispossessed Ainu communities and forced many people from their land. Assimilation policies prohibited their language, pressuring Ainu culture toward replacement by Yamato Japanese culture. A Seattle church was simultaneously a gay nightclub, an LGBTQ community center, and a shelter for queer youth. At 2 in the morning, its minister stopped the dancing for a sermon. George Freeman established the Monastery on Seattle's Boren Street in 1977, using his own savings. It welcomed gay people and operated as a membership social club requiring registration for entry. The format joined a dance party to religious practice. Members could dance, then Freeman paused the music at 2 a.m. and delivered a sermon. The venue drew opposition from Seattle officials, police, and parents in arms. Complaints and legal disputes over its activities eventually led the city to close it. After the monastery closed, Seattle enacted the Teen Dance Ordinance to regulate similar nightlife spaces. The consequence extended beyond this venue. Seattle created a new rule governing city dance venues and similar spaces. From about 4000 to 3200 BCE, the UAE's West Coast archaeological record nearly disappears. A populated landscape becomes almost blank for roughly 8 centuries. Before that gap, Neolithic communities left tools, pottery, fishing, and pastoral evidence across southeastern Arabia. Their presence was documented, not merely assumed. At Jebel Buhais, flint tools, axes, spearheads, and arrowheads belonged to pastoralists who also fished with hooks and nets. Around 4000 BCE, increasing aridity and desertification intensified. At Jebel Buhais, a spring appears to have dried up, while Oman's cave stalagmites record a drier interior. The pattern was uneven. Occupation evidence continued on southeastern Arabia's east coast, even as the west coast became virtually silent archaeologically. That contrast suggests changing settlement patterns rather than a complete regional disappearance. One rare exception was Akab Island, where a ritual dugong mound dates to 3500–3200 BCE. Around 3200 BCE, the Hafit period emerged, ending the long evidentiary gap. Bram Stoker published a Gothic story in 1890 that remained unknown to scholars for more than a century, until researchers rediscovered it in 2016. Gibbet Hill appeared in an 1890 Christmas supplement of the Daily Express Dublin edition. It stood at a real Surrey site tied to a sailor's 1786 murder. An unnamed narrator meets 3 mysterious children there, then follows them uphill. After he falls asleep, they chant, play unfamiliar instruments, and question a blindworm they treat as a snake. The animal freezes as they pull it taut. Paul S. McAuliffe rediscovered the publication in 2016 and approached John Edgar Browning. Together, they began a project to anthologize unknown Stoker works. A 2024 book and a 2025 anthology later brought Gibbet Hill before new readers with other lost or little-seen writings. The republications gave researchers a documented text to compare with Dracula and Stoker's wider themes without proving direct inspiration. At a Roman roadside station in northern Jordan, archaeologists found Red Sea tuna and seashells. The station lay deep inland, far from the Red Sea coast. Their presence placed marine goods inside an overland setting. Khirbet e Samra stood beside the Via Traiana Nova, the imperial road linking Basra with Isla. The station operated between about 150 and 250 CE. It was a roadside station, called a mansio in Roman terminology, though its precise function remains uncertain. The tuna was likely dried or salted for preservation. 12 seashells came from 5 families, a combination interpreted as Red Sea imports. Tilapia and carp were also identified among the fish remains. These finds joined 5,180 animal remains recovered from the station, including mammals, birds, fish, shells, and unidentified bone fragments. Because the remains were food waste, discarded meals became evidence of supply along the road. Marine products had traveled inland from Arabia's coast. France's only athletics gold medalist at the 1928 Olympics was Algerian-born marathoner Boughera El Ouafi, and America gave him more press than France. Born in Ould Gelil, French Algeria, El Ouafi represented France again after finishing 7th overall and first among French athletes in the 1924 marathon. In 1928, he stayed behind the leaders for most of the race, then overtook them roughly 5 kilometers before the finish. He won by 26 seconds over Chilean silver medalist Manuel Plaza, becoming France's only athletics gold medalist at those games. French coverage often downplayed the victory because of his Algerian origin. El Humanité even wrote sarcastically, "Finally, a French victory." American and Mexican newspapers instead cited El Ouafi, Chilean and Japanese competitors against claims of Nordic athletics superiority. After the Olympics, American attention continued during a 5-month tour. He ran 10 marathons and 10 25-kilometer races in the United States. At Manupur, Ahmad Shah Durrani faced an army reported to be 5 times larger than his own. The imbalance was 5-1 before the battle's outcome is considered. He had only recently become ruler, founding the Durrani Empire after Nader Shah's assassination in 1747. His Indian campaigns began the following year, opening a decades-long pattern of intervention. But the supplied account gives no troop totals opposing commander, tactics, ammunition details, or decisive maneuver for Manupur. It records the imbalance, not the process that addressed it. That distinction matters. What it does document is a wider military career, more than 15 major campaigns across India, Khorasan, and Afghan Turkestan. Those campaigns show repeated mobilization across regions, but they do not supply a Manupur battle plan. The firm takeaway remains the scale of the documented challenge, a reported 5-1 force imbalance at Manupur. Its outcome and exact battlefield decisions require additional sourcing because the supplied account records the numbers but not the method. Every 3 years, Oxford's Lord Mayor and councillors inspect New College's medieval wall sections, a tradition dating to the college's foundation in 1379. Those walls were rebuilt in stone between 1226 and 1240, enclosing the core of the medieval city. The enclosure covered about 120 acres and had a circumference of roughly 2 miles. More than 25 bastions and 4 main gates turned that circuit into a defensive system. New College owns some of its best-preserved sections. Some sections also had a secondary outer wall. As Oxford expanded, the walls lost much of their defensive purpose. Some gates and sections were demolished, while other stretches became college garden features. Today, the remaining walls are a scheduled monument. Their protected structures include Grade I listings. The triennial inspection links this monument with the college founded beside it more than 6 centuries ago in medieval Oxford.